Steam rose into the cold night air as the young chef stood outside his small food truck, the smell of spices mixing with rain. Business was slow. No one wanted food this late. Then he saw him. A shivering old man, coat torn, eyes hollow from hunger. Without hesitation, the chef scooped his last portion into a bowl. He didn't care that it was all he had left to sell. As he handed it over, he smiled gently and said, "Let me help you." But what he didn't know was that the man he just fed wasn't just hungry. He was about to change his life forever. Before that cold night, Malik Carter had already seen his share of struggle. Once a promising culinary student, he dropped out to care for his sick mother. After her passing, he poured every dollar he had into a small food truck he called Mama's Kitchen on Wheels. It wasn't fancy, but it was honest. Every recipe came from his mother's old notebook. Every meal cooked with the same love she taught him. Feed the soul, not just the stomach. But lately things had been hard. Rent overdue, the truck's engine failing. Most nights Malik closed early with barely enough to cover gas. Still, he never turned away the hungry. "One meal can change a day," he'd whisper to himself. That night rain poured harder than ever and the street was empty. Just when he thought about closing, he saw a man sitting by the curb, wet, trembling, clutching his stomach. Something in his eyes reminded Malik of his mother's last days, quiet pain and forgotten dignity. Without thinking twice, he stepped out into the rain, bowl in hand. That single act of kindness would soon make headlines around the world. The rain didn't stop, but the warmth of the food seemed to. The old man's trembling hands steadied as he took the first bite. For a moment, he just stared at the bowl, steam rising against the night. Then tears filled his eyes. "No one's fed me like this in years," he whispered, voice breaking. Malik only smiled and shrugged. "Everyone deserves a hot meal." The man ate slowly, savoring every spoonful as though it was something sacred. Malik turned back to clean his truck, unaware that the man was watching, studying every movement, every small detail of the way Malik handled food. Later that night, Malik found a folded napkin on the counter. Inside, it was a short note written in shaky handwriting. "Your food fed more than my hunger. You'll hear from me soon." No name, no number, just those words. Days passed. Malik forgot about it. He had bills to pay and the truck's radiator had just given up. He was close to shutting down for good. Then one morning, a sleek black car stopped by his truck. Out stepped a sharply dressed man with a camera crew. The man smiled and said, "Are you Malik Carter, owner of Mama's Kitchen?" Confused, Malik nodded. The man extended his hand and said, "Congratulations. You've been chosen for our Hidden Gems of America feature." Malik froze. He recognized the man from TV, the world's top food critic, a man whose reviews could make or break restaurants overnight. And suddenly it hit him. The homeless man from that night. It was him. Malik stood frozen outside his truck, rain dripping from the brim of his cap. The camera crew surrounded him, capturing every second. The man he had fed, the same one who had seemed lost, broken, invisible, was now stepping out of the black car wearing a crisp coat, holding a microphone. The world's top food critic, Jonathan Hale, a man whose opinion could lift a restaurant to fame or bury it overnight. Jonathan smiled faintly, his voice trembling as he spoke. "Last week I was walking through this very street, cold, hungry, and unnoticed. Not a single person looked at me, except him." He pointed at Malik. "He didn't know who I was. He didn't ask for anything. He gave away his last meal." The crowd that had gathered went silent. Cameras rolled. Malik's hand shook as Jonathan continued. "I've eaten in Michelin-starred kitchens across the world, but nothing tasted like that bowl of food. It had something money can't buy, heart." Jonathan turned to the cameras. "I came here today not just to thank him, but to announce something." He looked Malik in the eyes. "I'm funding a restaurant in your name. A real one. Because kindness like yours deserves a place on every plate." Tears streamed down Malik's face. The crowd erupted in applause. The rain, the cold, the struggle, it all melted away. In that moment, he realized one simple act of compassion had rewritten his destiny. Weeks passed, and Mama's Kitchen was no longer a food truck. It was now a small, beautiful restaurant in the heart of the city. Same recipes, same heart, but a line of people waiting outside every night. Malik still cooked each dish himself, refusing to change the flavors that had carried his mother's spirit. One evening, as he wiped down the counter, a young boy came in with his mother. They looked tired, hungry, unsure if they could afford a meal. Malik smiled, the same way he did that night in the rain, and said, "Don't worry, it's on the house." Jonathan Hale had kept his promise, visiting often, bringing cameras, journalists, and even chefs from across the world. But Malik never let fame change him, because he knew what it felt like to be invisible, to work twice as hard, to be judged by skin before skill. He knew kindness had no color, no class. And when people asked him what inspired his success, he'd always say, "It started with a bowl of soup and a little faith in humanity." The screen fades to black with these words. One act of kindness can change more than a life. It can change the world. How many more lives could we change if we simply chose compassion first?